Hi, my name is Richard Redder and I'm the Business Development Leader here at Binsfeld Engineering. Today I'm going to walk through step by step the instructions for how to install the water resistant housing with the compatible torque track torque telemetry system transmitter. Let's get started. The water resistant housing accessory comes with the following components: a battery cable with a battery connection, a transmitter cable with pre-tin leads, two interchangeable housings, a battery cover with two thumb screws, and a transmitter cover with two Allen screws, and a piece of butyl rubber. To install the accessory, you'll need these tools: a razor blade or an X-Acto knife, a wire stripper, a 7/16 combination, a 3/32 Allen, a screwdriver, and reinforced tape. So the first step is to install a strain gauge and protect that gauge on the shaft. Instructions for how to do this can be found in our other training videos. For this particular shaft, you'll notice that a gauge has been installed with M-coat put around it to protect it, and the wires have been brought out to a terminal strip. The first thing you want to do is remove the covers from the housings. And then you're going to want to position one housing on the shaft near the strain gauge or terminal strip, and the other housing 180 degrees from the first housing. To help with this process, you can use the butyl rubber supplied with the water resistant housing kit. Just take a small piece and push it onto the back of this. Set the housing where you want it and be sure to push down firmly. And you do the same with the other housing. You're now ready to secure the housings to the shaft. To do that, you're going to use the fiber reinforced tape. Then you want to determine the length of cables needed for your particular setup. So first thing you'll look at is the power cable, and the way you measure the length of cable is to run them about halfway in between the housings. Mark that line, cut, strip, and tin those wires. And you'll do the same for the transmitter cable. You'll run that about halfway down the housing, give yourself a little bit of extra wire, mark that, strip, tin, and get them to the length you need. After you cut, strip, and tin your cables, the first thing you want to do is take your power cable and using the battery cover, route the cover through the cable with the wire gland facing toward the tinned wires. And your transmitter cover, you can route this through either one of these glands. You'll want to make sure that the gland is facing the battery gland. The next thing that you're going to do is take your pre-cut and tinned transmitter cable with your battery cable and screw them into the compatible transmitter. With your transmitter wired, next thing you'll do is take the transmitter cable, route that through the wire gland of the transmitter housing cover. Slide the transmitter into the housing nearest to the strain gauge. And you'll want to make sure that for the transmitter that the sticker is facing outwards. It's actually a really important step. You don't want to put this in upside down. Slide that in. Then you'll take the Allen screws. Screw them in. Now, once the cover is put onto the housing, you'll want to push down using the transmitter cable. You'll want to push down through just until you feel that it's bottomed out, which at this point it is bottomed out. What you're doing is you're pushing the transmitter down into the housing. Once that's bottomed out, you'll take your 7/16 combination wrench and you'll tighten each of the wire glands. Now, to know how much tightness to put on these, you're going to be looking at the top here, looking for the O-ring that's inside of there to start protruding from the top of the gland. And now you'll repeat the same process for the battery. So you'll take your 9-volt battery, plug it into the connection, route it around to the other housing, push it in, and now you'll take the thumb screws and attach them into the housing like this. And the thumb screws are there so that you can easily remove the housing cover if you need to replace your 9-volt battery. So you'll make them nice and snug. Then you'll take your cable and you'll push down through the gland, just enough to feel it nice and snug. You'll know that it's bottomed out at the bottom of the housing. And you'll take your 7/16 tighten it down until you see the O-ring protruding from the top. Now both your transmitter and your battery are fully encased and protected from moisture and other elements. So last step here is to take your strain gauge cables that are coming out of the transmitter and wire them onto either your strain gauge or your terminal strip. So that concludes the step-by-step instructions for how to install the water-resistant housing accessory. It's a great accessory for when you want to make a transmitter IP66 rated. So if you want to learn more about this or discuss your application, visit us online at www.binsfeld.com and contact us today.